Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for August 30th, 2025. We've got what should be a full random kingdom. It looks pretty fully random. And we've got Hideout, Steward, Research, and T-Mog for trashing. Draw is Seer, Steward, and Research into a small extent Aristocrat. There's also Mountain Folk if you can get enough favors. Which off the cuff I'm going to say is probably not super relevant. Plus actions, Hideout and Aristocrat. And then Contract. That's pretty awkward, actually. Although I guess maybe we don't need to play that many terminals anyway, now that I'm looking at it. Gains. That looks like it's going to be the real limiter here. We've got the Magic Lamp where we can get 3 wishes. Aristocrat can give us buys. We have to play 4 of them, which is very awkward, especially because Aristocrat gives you 3 actions. So, like, if you are using Aristocrat, like the first Aristocrat for plus actions, you're going to spend them all in order to get the buys from the 4th one. And it's like you get the, like, you also, like, it's draw if you play 2 of them, but it's actually draw negative if you play 4 of them. So it's, yeah, I don't know. That's unfortunate. There is also T-Mog. Do some gaining stuff. So we have a 5-2 here. If we had a 4-3, I would say probably the open would be T-Mog Steward, and we look to like T-Mog Estates and Steward Trash Coppers. As it is, I mean, we'll obviously take a Border Guard on the 2, and we could just open with a Seer. But I think I might prefer to go ahead and get a T-Mog, and then we could potentially T-Mog an Estate into a Steward and still get some trashing in that way. In terms of like the long-term plan here, certainly like the Seer draw is good, and that does make the Aristocrat thing better than it would be otherwise. So we probably will want to try to get 4 Aristocrats. It's unfortunate, but it might be difficult is the thing. Like, it's like slow when we're spending the individual buys on it, and like spending wishes on that feels pretty bad too. To see how that goes. Another thing that would be nice is to like ferry like Seer so that Seer can draw itself, and also we could T-Mog Estates into it. We'll see if we get the chance to do that. Yeah, that would make the Seer draw significantly stronger, ferrying it. So that's probably worth doing at some point. All right, I think I want to get the T-Mog. I think a 4-3 would just be better here. Looks like the bot also had a 5-2 and same opening. Unfortunately, we do not play the T-Mog. So next turn, we're going to have 4 coins. We could ferry Seer now, and then we could buy a Seer, and then we could, we can T-Mog into Steward, but meanwhile we have a Seer that can find our estates and can draw itself when we get more Seers. Alternatively, we could get the steward now. And then that's probably better, isn't it? We ferry seer, we buy steward, and then we T-Mog estate to steward or to seer, and then the seer can find the steward and have a little bit of a bigger hand size. I think that's better. All right, let's get the steward then, I guess. And ferry seer. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, I was not anticipating this. Okay, so now we have a choice to make. Do we want to trash an estate and then we can buy a 3, or do we want to trash 2 coppers and then we can buy a border guard? Like the estate is T-Mog target, of course. But like being able to buy a 3 now is, you know, kind of amounts to the same thing. Like getting another seer into the deck would definitely be stronger than getting a border guard. I think we trash. Well, but we can also T-Mog border guards. Now that I think about it, into other things. So like having. We think about this in terms of gains. We do, in a sense, get more total gains if we have like the estate and the border guard in the deck than if we have a copper and a seer. So I think I am going to go with that, actually. Oops, I did. Okay, well, I guess it's fine, and I would have been able to undo it anyway. But I just sort of clicked play treasures without thinking about it, even though I did just been talking about. Anyway, all right. So now we want to be careful here about our wishes because of the gain limits. If we can get, 4 aristocrats into our deck, then we stop being so gain limited. But still, we are going to have to actually do that. That being said, thinking about going ahead and getting a seer now. Yeah, I think so. Okay. That's better. Although, unfortunately, we trash here again. We're faced with the whole like trade-off we were just dealing with. We could wish for 1 more seer, and then what's down there? A copper border guard. Well, the wish on top, and the copper border guard. Border guard. That's not really. The thing is, I'd kind of like to get further into the shuffle so that we can like have a chance to T-Mog an estate next turn. But maybe we just plan to T-Mog a border guard anyway. I don't really want to trash 2 coppers if it means that I can't buy anything. But what we could do, if we don't want to continue through our shuffle, what we could do is wish for like a contract, which isn't like an amazing card, but does eventually mean that we can get the mountain folk stuff. And it also gives us 2 coins, and then we can trash 2 and we can buy 3. So that's an option. We could also do like wish for aristocrat, take that for plus actions, draw with the steward. Then we would clear out the shuffle. Like either we'd bottom deck the 2 border guards and draw like wish copper, or we would clear out the shuffle entirely. Um, think I'm gonna go like having. There is fairgrounds on the board. Having 1 contract in the deck might be nice. Getting the coppers out of the way so that our seers draw everything also is obviously good. So I think I'm going to go for the contract line. And then we'll pick up our first aristocrat, because we do need to get going on that. And then I think I will just go ahead and T-Mog a border guard to an aristocrat. All right, this is going to draw everything. Contract the seer. We could go ahead and wish for a 3rd aristocrat now. Play steward aristocrat for like trashing and coins respectively, and buy whatever. We could also consider wishing for another T-Mog so that we can T-Mog the estates. Do you think I like getting another T-Mog? And then maybe we don't trash now, we go coins. Maybe we do contract the seer. Makes it a lot more likely that we get to T-Mog an estate. We could take another contract. Sure. All right. Let's get another aristocrat, I guess. And try to contract seer again. I mean, not just try. We can succeed. Go ahead and trash here. And if we're gonna get a fourth aristocrat, we're gonna need plus actions. We could get a fifth aristocrat to cover that. It's like we could buy one now and then T-Mog into one. Plus actions so that we can play the steward. I think that's probably correct. I don't know that we need any more than the 5, but oh. Order of operations kind of significant there. We have to like play like the first aristocrat pays for the other 3, and then we have to play the next one before we can like do anything else, which is pretty awkward, I have to say. But anyway, now we just take some silvers. We have some overdraw. We could play with Secret Cave. I mean, we kind of want food for Fairgrounds anyway. Let's look at this more directly. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 uniques. Fairgrounds would get us to 7. Secret Cave would get us to 8. Silver would get us to 9. Gold would get us to 10. I anticipate us taking at least 1 gold. Province, Duchy, State 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it might be tough to get to 15. We'd have to like buy like a copper and a research, or like a hideout. We could do that at the end of the game. It's something to keep in mind. Anyway, I think I like getting Silver Secret Cave for now. The fact that there is this alt VP is going to make, I think, this approach like relatively stronger than it might have been without it. The bot just single provincing, but I also think that like it probably would have been better anyway. All right, we definitely don't need the Mountain Folk this turn. As for T-Mog, do we care about having 2 T-Mogs? Like, maybe not. T-Mog would be a nice way to gain a gold if we had the contract in hand. I guess that could be an argument for spending the Mountain Folk. And then later we can T-Mog into another contract. T-Mog into another contract if we don't want the T-Mog. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. And then take a gold. the border guard thing going. Well, I guess we did have the actions to... Why did we have the actions? Oh, because of the contract. Right. All right. Another secret cave, I think. Keep that going. Another silver would be fine. Maybe get another seer this turn because we don't have the contract. Yeah, let's get another seer. And yeah, I think a silver. You have another seer down there, right? Yeah. Okay. We can do... Doop. Although... Doesn't mean we're not contracting this seer. A little bit annoying. Has the bot popped its magic lamp? No, it has not. We could do steward for draw, but then we don't quite draw everything. Whatever, I guess. Wait, what? Uh-oh. Oh, we really did need the contract. Okay, I guess we can contract an aristocrat. That's fine. Why? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I mischaracterized that previously. Okay. But did we put both of the team? I did put both the team logs on the mat. That's fine. I'm sure we can find a use for that at some point. Right, so... What now? Where are we in terms of uniques? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we at least have 4-point fairgrounds, and maybe we'll just go with that. We could start like single provincing while also adding a bunch of additional draw. We'll get more money next turn because we'll get to play the steward. So that'll give us to 17. Another seer. Go. Oh, I was talking about like T-mogging into another contract so that we have a contract every turn. We kind of do need a contract every turn. Maybe we just buy it. Maybe we don't province this turn. We get another seer, and we want one more silver. Yeah, we actually, the contract actually gets us back to 15, and the steward gets us to 17. And then, do we care about having 19? 19 is double province seer, so I guess that's kind of nice. Yeah, sure, I'll take another silver. Yeah, the bot's deck isn't doing a whole lot over there. I think I'm just going to leave these T-Mogs on the mat for the time being. Is that actually correct? Maybe we're supposed to pick up the gold. Okay. The other thing we could do is take another pair of contracts just to like really make sure we don't dud. I think we're at the point where it doesn't really matter. Like we're probably just one regardless, but I think that's a reasonable option anyway. It gives us a little bit more money. Go seer, contract, province. We'll have to buy another contract to keep this going, but that's fine. Where's my secret cave? Why is it in the... Oh. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, so I want one more contract. And then we could double province. Oh, we're already at 4-point fairgrounds, huh? We double province, we're at 18. If the bot provinces after that, we're down by 10 points. And then we would just need Province Fairgrounds Estate to win. Well, we don't quite have Mountain Folk, unfortunately. That would really lock it in, but the bot doesn't either. I guess the bot does have 2 T-Mogs on the mat. Okay, we should probably play around that. So let's start taking some Fairgrounds. Fairgrounds. And then uniques-wise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, like, we could take, like, a hideout just to have the unique. I'll get us to 12. We take a duchy at some point, that gets us to 13. Estate gets us to 14. Copper or research gets us to 15. I think I'd rather have hideout than research. Maybe? I don't know. I mean, it probably doesn't matter. I'm probably not doing anything with either of them. But... honestly, we could also just take the estate on the assumption that, like, having the extra money later isn't going to be that big of a deal. But let's do... I think hideout is more likely to save a turn. It's not very likely to, but it is more likely. Okay, yeah, there they go. Milling the provinces. Now they don't have the T-Mogs on the mat, so we can actually just win by double provincing. So that was a little silly on the bot's part. I guess we should pick up the Seer and not the Fairgrounds, even though... Oh no! What are those cards? The Fairgrounds and... our 5th Aristocrat? So we don't really need that anyway, do we? Do we get there with the copper? 1, like 5, and everything but research? Pretty sure the answer is no. Oh well. Yeah, so the score looks close, but really this game was not close. It is definitely not always the case that it's worth investing in the plus buy when it's only from Aristocrat. But on this board, I think it definitely is. The fact that you can draw so much with like Ferried Seer is a big part of it, because the value you get from the additional buys is actually pretty high. But also, like I said, the presence of Alt VP. I mean, I think we only had 2 Fairgrounds that were worth 4 points each. That's not quite... like, I can't say, like, oh, if we hadn't had those 8 points, we would have won. But what I can say is if we'd had duchies instead, we would have won. So it wasn't, like, necessary exactly, but it definitely helps, like, push that. It's funny how, like, we ended up playing with a bunch of contracts, and then, like, we still only activated Mountain Folk once. Friggin' Mountain Folk. I don't know, maybe it wasn't the best idea to trigger the Mountain Folk just to, like, T-Mog something into a gold, but then again, aside from the fact that we T-Mogged that turn, I guess we would have gotten to activate Mountain Folk on this last turn if we had, if we hadn't done that. So, I don't know. It probably wasn't necessary. I probably shouldn't have done that. I was kind of thinking, oh, it'll be annoying to buy gold. I guess I wasn't really thinking about, you know, you're going to end up buying a contract anyway, so it's hardly matters. Oops, whatever. Yeah, I still think... well, the other thing is that the bot never popped its lamp. I got quite lucky to pop it as early as I did. I will say I did set myself up for it to at least be possible to do that. The, like, okay, we're gonna do this the way that we did, where we, you know, like, get the steward and then T-Mog into Seer and try to draw that, like, was, like, I think it was about as good a setup as one could have asked for to try to have this happen. But obviously the odds are still that it won't happen, at least not that quickly. So that definitely helped. But yeah, I don't know what the bot was doing exactly where they didn't, like, get that going. They didn't even trash that much. Still had an estate left, still had 5 coppers left. Like, they got a steward, but I wonder if on a 4-3 if the bot would have played this board better just because it would have opened steward and then been more aggressive about trashing. Uh, the other thing though is they got that second T-Mog really early, and I don't really think that makes a ton of sense. Let's see. I didn't comment on it at the time, but I saw it and I kind of gave it the side eye. Yeah, here they bought a second T-Mog on turn 3. I don't really think. I don't think that's good. I mean, for one thing, you want to Fairy Seer and do Seer stuff, and if you've got, I mean, I guess they didn't get their T-Mog down this turn, but like you still want to like set yourself up to do that. Even if your plan is to T-Mog into Steward as like the first thing that you do, getting a second T-Mog doesn't make as much sense as like taking advantage of the one that you already have, in my opinion. And then what did they do with it? Okay, they gained the Steward, played the other T-Mog. And then here they trashed, so with 2 T-Mogs in the deck, trashed an Estate and a Copper rather than 2 coppers, which they totally could have done. That doesn't really make a lot of sense either. And then they get a contract, which is kind of a weird thing to be picking up given the state of their deck. Did they like ever call these T-Mogs until like maybe the bot literally got a turn 3 T-Mog thinking I want to mill provinces? Like I think that might actually be the case. Because like did they ever call these T-Mogs? Pretty sure the answer is no. That's wild. And then, like, when they did finally do it, it was to set themselves up to be able to lose. Granted, they were going to lose anyway, but, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. Well, anyway, don't do that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.